Hi guys, I'm Adam Stokes, and thanks for joining me for another Let's Edit. So today we're going to be specifically looking at adding sound effects to an already cut scene, so let's get on with it. Right, first things first, got to set the old timer because of the camera. So we're starting with the edit from the previous episode. I'm just going to play it through now because it's only about 1:20, and then I'm going to start laying down sound effects and building up a little audio edit for this scene.
Hang on guys, I've got an idea. Aww, how cute. Cinder wishes she was a Cinderella.
So, are you going to the party, Cinder?
Yeah. Guess who'll be there?
Just have my notebook back.
Why? We can just give it to Max for you. I swear, if you do that...
You'll let Mech Fugly answer the question, Chewbacca.
Girls, I think it's time to teach someone a little lesson. You know, that's too bad. I happen to know for a fact Max likes Cinderellas.
And you're more like Cinderella's old, ugly pumpkin.
See you later, Cinder Pumpkin.
So there we have it, a roughly edited scene. It's not perfect in a minute, but we can address that in the fine cut stage. So what I'm going to do is add some sound effects to give it a bit more life, make it feel a bit more believable. So as you can see, I've just played back the sequence again, adding some markers with some comments about what kind of sound effects that I'm going to need. And then I've just popped over to SoundSnap, one of the sound effects providers that I often use. And I'm just browsing through, looking for sound effects that are going to add to the atmosphere of the scenes. So as you can see, I'm just playing around with putting some background noise for like the kids in the background to make it seem like it's a busy common area type thing. It's quite hard without actual Foley on this, because it's quite difficult to find a sound effect where you have a crowd talking and then going down to a hush, because it's quite specific, and that's what I'm looking for at the moment. So yeah, you'll find looking for sound effects can take up quite a lot of time. But at this stage, I'm not looking for the perfect sound effect. I'm just looking for something that will work, because at the end of the day, when it goes to finishing, a lot of these sound effects will either be replaced with Foley or tweaked by a sound engineer. So we don't want to spend forever on it. We need to get through this edit. And as we're not gone through a fine cut yet anyway, some of these sound effects might end up being pulled out. Just want to get a vibe for the scene, so when I'm watching it back as a completed film, and it doesn't become distracting that there's no sound effects, no atmosphere in the scenes. Yeah, so I'm just looking for some like sounds that convey like the kids have hushed down, or they're a bit shocked about what's about to happen. Definitely need some nice sound effects for this part of the edit. It's the important crux of the scene. I think it's where poor Cinder gets the name Pumpkin Princess. So we need like a good splatty sound effect. because at the minute with the sound off from on set, there's no impact there. I want to give it a bit more weight. So yeah, just keep going back and forth, tweaking as we need to, getting the timing just right. You can get really carried away with adding sound effects in at these stages because you can really build out a scene. What we're trying to do is just look at the footage and pick out the main elements of things that are happening that you don't really hear and just put in something there. It's easy enough to remove it later if it becomes too distracting, but things like footsteps are often quite important. They give quite a lot of life to the scene, and you might not notice it if it's not there, but it can really bring some life to an otherwise dead scene. So yeah, with the footsteps, I just want to add it at the top of the scene to draw your attention to the girls at the back as they come forward. It's just a sort of sound effect, but it immediately draws your attention to what's happening. Looking for another sound effect. I just want a bit more of a sound effect for when she yoinks the paper out of her hand. So all these sort of effects just like help build out a scene and just bring life to it. And the more work you can do on the building up the atmosphere of a scene, the better. Because like, for instance, when you send out a rough cut to a producer, director for feedback, if those effects are there, it helps them see more of the final product. So if you send them a scene and it's got no sound effects in whatsoever, sometimes it might feel like the edit is quite dead and boring. And it might be difficult for some people to imagine the atmosphere that could be there if it's not already put in. If you've got sound effects in there that bring it some life, it really helps the scene. Yeah, so I'm just working on trying to get that team background chatter to dull down. Yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to get a vibe for what the sound is going to be like without listening to the tracks. So it's good to have organisation in your sound effects because it should help you rattle through them pretty quickly and pick out the ones that are actually relevant. But then again, it's always difficult to know exactly what the sound is. So you just got to listen to a lot of sound effects. And again, I'm not looking for the perfect sound effect. I'm just looking for something that's going to work, because we don't want to be aiming for perfection at this stage. It's just a bit of a time sink. What you really want to do is just like treat it a bit like a sculptor. You're just crafting the basic shapes at this stage before we start chipping away and making those finer adjustments later on. What we're aiming for is like a scene with plenty of sound effects in to make it feel like it's alive. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut more scenes, and then we're going to put them all in one big timeline. And as we watch through, we'll be able to figure out what needs more attention, and we'll just chip away until we've got our final film. So we're just going to watch it back once without the sound effects, and then straight away play it again after with all the sound effects in, and then hopefully you'll see that there's quite a big difference, and why this process is really worth putting some time into, but not too much time because we don't want to waste it.
Hang on, guys. I've got an idea. Aw, how cute. Cinder wishes she was a Cinderella.
So, are you going to the party, Cinder?
Yeah.
Guess who'll be there?
Just have my notebook back.
Why? We can just give it to Max for you. I swear, if you do that,
You'll what, McFugly? Answer the question, Chewbacca.
Girls, I think it's time to teach someone a little lesson. You know, that's too bad. I happen to know for a fact Max likes Cinderellas.
And you're more like Cinderella's old, ugly pumpkin.
See you later, Cinder Pumpkin. Aw, how cute. Cinder wishes she was a Cinderella.
So, are you going to the party, Cinder?
Yeah.
Guess who'll be there?
Just have my notebook back.
why? We can just give it to Max for you. I swear, if you do that,
You'll what, McFugly? Answer the question, Chewbacca.
Girls, I think it's time to teach someone a little lesson. You know, that's too bad. I happen to know for a fact Max likes Cinderellas.
And you're more like Cinderella's old, ugly pumpkin.
See you later, Cinder Pumpkin.
And there you have it. A much more lively scene, makes it more believable. It doesn't look like the other characters in the scene are just miming or just aren't really there. All that background chatter helps just make it feel like it's in a real environment. I've added a few like impact sound effects like footsteps and book effects, like either grabbing or slamming or whatever. And that really just helps you notice those actions a little bit more, which are quite important to what is going on in the scene. It's all about grabbing attention, and if you ignore the audio, you're ignoring 50% of your film. It's really worth investing some time in adding those effects. Like I said, when you come to send these out to directors, producers, etc., having some sound effects will just like help them visualize the final scene a lot better. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me on this Let's Edit. Hopefully you picked up a tip or two. I'll be doing a lot more of these in the future, and if you found this video useful, hit the like button, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.